Hello, everybody. I'm Johnny Massar.
And I'm Alex Stewart.
And we're your hosts.
On Iron, Sharpens Iron.
Yes, we have a very good interview tonight.
Yes, we sure do. We got an artist actually on the show, and he's going to be giving his perspective on what it means to be a Christian and in the music industry today. So I'm looking forward to it.
Enjoy. We got a real special guest here. This is actually my son-in-law, Timmy Dunn. He's a good young man, fine young gentleman, a man with 4 children, married with 4 children. One of them's in college, all the way down to one in diapers. He's got a great family, loves God, they go to church regularly, and he's also in the music industry. And so Alex and I were talking about it'd be awesome to introduce you to a man that's living for the Lord, has a great family, and he's in the country music industry.
Yes.
And that's kind of a, we wanted to definitely talk about that, what that's like to be in the country music industry and be a Christian.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? A little bit more?
First of all, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. We've actually talked about this for a while. So we've kind of bounced back and forth. He's asked me to do it. And then, of course, Sundays are really tied up because it's like church. And we have one service on Sunday, so it's like, it's long, right? So then we do that, and then we go to eat, and then we're not home by like 4 o'clock.
Well, how long is your one service Sunday?
So we go at, we get there about 10:30. It starts at 11, and then we go till about 1:45, almost 2.
Oh, wow.
And then we go to lunch. And so by the time we get to lunch, and we're usually going with church family, so then we're talking about 3:30, 4 o'clock, we're leaving, we're coming home. So then we're 30 minutes from that. So it's a long day.
Well, where Alex and I go to church, we started doing that in August, and we go in at 10, and we're normally out by about 12.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, first hour is Sunday school, and then when the second hour, we have some evangelistical preaching and a real good service. But a lot of churches are doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to the one service Sunday.
Yeah, it's been nice.
It's been nice, yeah. So, do you ever sing in church, or do you ever ask to do anything special?
I don't. It's one of those things where we do secular music, we do secular country music, so I don't feel like I'm the one that needs to maybe be singing to people or up on that stage just yet.
Right.
It's kind of like you're 1 foot over here and then you're 1 foot over here, and it's weird because we've been at it for almost 8 years now. So it's been mentioned, it's been asked, but I feel like I got some growing to do before I take that kind of stage.
That kind of stage, yeah. It does. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. What am I trying to say? There's a praise team is like an integral praise situation where your lifestyle is. I'm sure pastors look at the lifestyle everybody's living and saying, well, you know, you're right now on a stage where you're doing any kind of secular music. Did he ever talk to you about that, your pastor? Or?
No, he knows what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
He knows how much we have invested. Right. Just life, and it's not just me; it's the family too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that goes for any man or woman that's in, whether it be music or military or anything. It's not just you in it; it's your whole family.
Yeah.
And so he understands where I'm trying to be, and he also understands that one day I would like to do that, but it's just not there yet. I wouldn't feel right.
Yeah.
Leaving a bar or leaving one of those festivals where there's a lot of things going on, and then Sunday getting on stage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we talked about it.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really said, "Hey, you need to go this way or that way." It's all.
I'm actually happy to hear you say that because when you're in that on that stage, you know, my question is, in that industry, how do you become the salt and the light of the world, but yet in the bar, you say sometimes you're in the bar room. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that the bar room needs salt and light.
That's a weird place to be, and it's gotten even more polarized over the past 2 or 3 years with COVID and everything. COVID really showed people more about themselves than any virus, right?
Right.
So it separated a lot of things, and it made a lot of things come to light that we all didn't know. So these days, whereas I used to play a lot of bars and stuff like that, these days I try to stay away from those. So as my life changes, it changes where I want to be musically. So even some of the parties and stuff that my manager, we were all going to, I think I told you one time that I walked into this party and I just felt evil all around me.
Right.
And I'd never felt that before. I've been around music. I've been around some of the worst characters in the industry you can think of. But it wasn't until about right then that I walk in and I just feel this drowning, like man, it felt weird. And then that's like, well, that's my life changing. That's me changing.
That's right.
So they've been the same the whole time. It's me changing and recognizing what's really going on around me. So we try to stay out of the bars.
Well, it's like the first question that we wanted to ask was, what's it like being in the country music industry and being a Christian? And that answers the question. That's a good answer, because now you're picking up things. You know what I mean? And so I guess secondarily, I would ask, do you look at your lyrics? I know you write songs. I've heard some of your songs and they're really good, So you're an artist and a songwriter. So as your spirit picks this up, how's it changing your lyrics? Is it?
For me, it hasn't changed a whole lot with my lyrics, because we've kind of been known for being modest.
Good.
Good. and we shoot our videos in Henderson, which is a cool thing for not just me, but just people in Henderson, and they like and appreciate that we didn't just think we're too good and run off to Nashville to shoot something.
Right.
We have to go there to record, because that's where the sound is, right?
All right.
Ain't many recording studios in Henderson, right?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. But it's one of those things where we've always been modest. In our videos, you're not going to see half-naked girls. You're not going to see a lot of that. The content of what I'm singing about, we're not talking about. We may talk about some beers or something like that, but we're not getting into drug content or sex or anything like that. It's just not been there. My love interest in all of my videos has been my wife. So against her will, but I'm not going to have some girl come in and play that role and act that out with her. I can't.
Right.
But with Missy, easy, because I love her, right? That was the easy thing to do. But we've always
as your father-in-law, I'm very happy to hear you say that. That is good. That's awesome. She's a gem.
She and we have been through it with this industry, so we've learned how to navigate it and what to stay away from. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, there would be the lyrics and things, like from the standpoint of Jesus said, "Go in the world and be salt and light." I think lyrics would be a good area to, like, if you're going to write country music, the faith, family, freedom kind of songs. You remember some of the songs? I think me and you played a song on the guitar that was a freedom song, and I believe it was Toby Keith's song that we used to play when we would get together. I don't remember how it goes. Do you remember that old song we used to sing?
You had to ask.
I had to ask you. Yeah, I had to ask you.
Right now I don't. I don't.
But I'm American, something like that.
Yeah. What's crazy is that you talking about whiskey and songs. I think we talked about that a little bit before the show started, and even like if you listen to like a song that I have called Jim, right? Yeah. It's about Jim Beam.
Oh,
But what it's about is it says, let me introduce you to my friend, right? Yeah. His name is Jim. Because in any addiction, that becomes your friend, your go-to, and who you confide in, and who you bow down to. Yeah. And so in the song Jim, it's me talking about drinking, but it's talking about the struggle of addiction, really.
Oh, good.
And dragging your family through that, and spending money you didn't have and stuff like that. So that's what Jim is about. So even when we talk about stuff like that, it's kind of preaching to some people. And so, and I'm no preacher, but I've had many guys reach out to me and say, you know what, I thought I was alone in this. I thought I never knew somebody that was out doing all these big shows and doing all these great things. And from a social media standpoint, it looks so great, it looks so fun. Your life is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I understand. People only post what they want you to see, the best parts. They may have taken that picture and got off there and cried over depression. They may have taken that video and then got off and got in a fight or something like that with their spouse. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, all the time for people. But it's songs like Jim and stuff like that have saved people, and I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, that I can see that. I can see that being a ministry, because you're hitting home with so many people. Like you start out with one drink, and it's like the first time somebody experiences any kind of substance. It's usually a good experience, and kind of go on some little euphoric high. But then time after time it changes, and then they get into this life of imprisonment. And so the song, the lyrics can explain somebody going through a situation like that, and then perhaps maybe even coming out of it, which would be the ideal thing.
In the song, it actually says, I can't do this by myself, that's why I'm here.
I need help.
So whether you take that as an AA meeting or you take that as being at church,
That's turning to God.
that's why you're here. I can't do it by myself.
Right.
I need y'all. I need to tell you about
Well, isn't that just the way it is, that we're all so interconnected?
Yeah.
Paul said it's in him we live and breathe and have our being. So when we breathe and we're together, God is with us, even in everything that we do, even if it's just a song, even if it's just singing a song. I love to sing love songs. I love songs, about loving somebody or about being in love. And of course, I really love gospel songs that give God glory. I notice a lot of the songs in the gospel world are going towards, us as individuals now too, instead of praising to God. I necessarily wouldn't call those worship songs, but perhaps maybe inspirational songs.
Yeah.
What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because I've really noticed that a lot with a lot of these artists, saying that it's a Christian song, but really never use the word God or Christian, or anything like that. So it really got me thinking, is that really applying to Christianity and stuff? And just hearing what you just said, about your song Jim, that's awesome, to think about, that can be used for God as well. It's just a way to turn that around and just turn your life over.
Well, you got to watch, because you don't know who their God is. Let's just say that, unless they say it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Proclaim it. You don't know who that is. So when you're singing that song and you're paying for their concerts and stuff like that, you don't know, because they haven't really said it, and they're phasing it out really. So when you look at songs and what they are, right? They can preach and teach, and they can help, they can save, they can tear down too, though, right?
Yeah.
Or they can mold your mind.
Yeah.
So, and I think the biggest thing that I've learned in the industry, 8 years now, and we've been around some people. Not everybody is who they say they are or claim they are. It doesn't matter what the videos say, and sometimes it doesn't even matter what the songs say. I've heard people in their songs talk about God, thank God for this little piece of land. It's the typical country song.
Right.
I got a dog, I got a white picket fence, I got a wife at home.
I got a truck.
Yeah, but at the same time they're atheists. And I know it. Their group knows it. We all know it.
Yeah.
But the person watching at home thinks, "Oh man, they're a God-fearing man. They love God." So, and a lot of times it's not the case. And not only with secular music, but you got to look at even Christian music. I don't care if it's on K-Love or where it is.
Oh yeah, You're right. You're right.
It's for money. It's a show. So you got to be very careful about what you put your faith into to listen to and consume.
We were talking about that as we were eating lunch today, about an album that has a little emblem on it, and trying to reach a different crowd, but money, and stuff. Yeah. So that's an excellent point, because it's you ask the question, who is their God? Who do they serve? And when you sing about the virtues of, let's just say, America, the freedom that we have in America to have the truck, the car, the fence, the own your own property and all those things. And maybe the guy is sitting outside having his beer as he's cooking out on the, on the grill and whatnot. Those are the signs of freedom, and it's the things that people like to do. But like you said, the bottom line is that people that are in the industry are in it for the money, and so how is that? I guess I would ask you, how is the industry as far as being lucrative? Is it a lucrative industry?
Yeah, I mean, it is. We make money monthly. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't want any numbers. I'm just saying, is it lucrative? You don't have to give, but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
So you K1.
Is it worth the time as far as? Because I know you got your own business.
Yeah.
By trade, you're a window tender, car windows. He tints churches, buildings, and office buildings, and anything. This is the man to call right here with Dunn window tinting. I mean, it's top notch. I mean, they do top notch work. I mean, he takes a lot of pride in what he does. So he's making a good income with your job. I know you do good with that, but I just was asking if that's lucrative to write one song. Is it lucrative to write a good song?
It can be. It can be more so for the songwriter than even the artist sometimes. Most of the time, actually. So, like I said, there's a lot of different revenue streams in music. And so even sitting at home, we make money because there's music out there being streamed somewhere, somehow, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different placements and sync licensing and stuff like that people can get into, whether their song hits a show on Netflix or something like that. And it can be in the background and nobody really hears it, but because that show was watched 100,000 times, then there was 100,000 spins, and it goes from there. So it's kind of weird how many ways you can make money, but they've created these avenues because they took the money out of CDs, right? Mm-hmm. Spotify and all those kind of guys, they took the money out of selling music. So what a lot of people did was they came up with different ways to do it. So yeah, it can be, especially depending on the circle that you're in.
I did a song here that I wrote.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What's that called?
It's called Glorified. Remember we did that song?
Oh, yeah.
Me and Alex played. Did you happen to watch that one?
I don't know. I watched a couple of them, but I want to say he looks different. I don't know if it's a haircut or what, but
have
you always been on the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then that's what I watched.
Yeah. I was there trying to play bass.
But I think the one that I watched, y'all had it set up over here.
Yeah, right.
That was the last couple that I watched or whatever. Because what I'll do is I'll binge watch something. If somebody asks me to watch something, then it'll probably take me a while to get to it. But then once I click on one, I'll go ahead and do 3 or 4 or 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how that went for me.
That is cool.
So if you had your choice of doing your tinting business or music full time, if you had to choose one over the other, would you choose music?
It would definitely be music.
Yeah.
It would always be music. But what we understand is that the crowd is not the same. The music's not the same. The industry is shrunk. It shrunk for us. I'm a constitutional conservative. And and that is frowned upon.
Is it
in Nashville? Oh yes. Mm-hmm. And not just being conservative, because I've met conservatives that don't believe in God at all. Right.
Yeah.
So you got to watch that too, right? Mm-hmm. Don't think they're a friend, a brother in Christ, but just because they wore an American flag shirt or something. I've met some of those, but I would love to do music. It's just now it has to be different. Not just because COVID changed music too. Not just because of that. It heightened everything. So everything is if you don't believe the way I believe, I hate you. I want you to die. Right?
You want to cancel you out.
Yeah. So that whole cancel culture thing, I hate to say that. Yeah. But it has cost us record deals. It has cost us pub deals. There's certain buildings we can't even walk into, right?
Really?
Mm-hmm. When you get down to vaccinations and then being a patriot, it's not really liked in Nashville. So we would love to do it full time, but we're not willing to mold to what they want us to be and need us to be signed by them. And I don't want to. That's called selling out.
Well, I think there's two things. Two things I'd like to bring up that you're bringing to the table that I think is important to know. First thing that every individual should know is the difference between what's right and what's wrong. Mm-hmm. And so, in your case, you're an individual, and here's the thing: reaction is really what's the most honest. I'll just give you an example. If you might be someone that's you don't believe in God and you don't have a moral compass, you say that, well, rape is okay. I'll just use rape. But then someone in your family gets raped, or you get raped, or you don't think that somebody stealing to get some food was bad, but then somebody breaks in and steals all your living. Mm. What's your reaction to that? Then it all of a sudden becomes bad. You see. Mm-hmm. And the second thing we should always know is not in morals, and when it comes to things that are morals, you have to have a baseline for your morality. And that's why God, being the creator, the cause of all things, see, what we see here are the effects. We see the effects of creation of God. And so when we're looking at the effects, we have to ask who caused it, mm-hmm. And so we have to understand the difference between right and wrong. And secondly, we need to know what our freedoms are, especially being American. We need to know our Constitution. Mm-hmm. And you brought up you're a constitutionalist. And so you understanding the moral code, you can take your lyrics to try to help somebody who's in an area in life where they don't understand why they're entrapped or enslaved, but then you throw the message in there, we're here to help you. You need help, and so help is available. Mm-hmm. So, that's a moral thing. And then the freedom things is knowing your freedoms. Like, for example, you mentioned, I'm not going to sell out to take a shot. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that is your constitutional right. Your conscience can't bear those things. So you say, no, I'm not going to do those things. And it's unfortunate that the culture will cancel you out because you don't agree with the culture, but yet you keep going on. You keep going on, and so that's the thing that we have to do is keep pressing onward, and hold tight our morality, and be salt and light in the earth.
Right.
But because Jesus said that we're to be the salt and the light of the earth. And so I say that I would applaud you for standing up for what is right and taking a stand, even if it costs you the dinero, even if it costs you a little money,
Cost a lot of that, didn't it?
Well, it may very well have, but you have your dignity. What is more important, the dollar or your dignity? And when you can't sell out for the dollars, I feel like preaching again. Because you got to have dignity, you see, and that's what's important. Some of us go to work, and our bosses or whoever want to be lords of the serfs, a serf lord, and they treat people without dignity, and we've lost that in America. We made it about the almighty dollar. We made it about the cancel culture. If you don't think like I think, my virtues are more, virtuous than yours. They make signals, virtue signaling, and say, well, if you don't think like me, but what's the reference line? What's the cause? Where does your cause come from? Does it come from this 2.5 pound brain, or does it come from a greater source?
Right.
And so you maintaining integrity with the greater source, with the one who transcends all time, and because that by following him, you're following what's right. Mm-hmm. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. No. I think it's funny because a lot of people in the industry, they may mock and scoff and they do all these kinds of things and they block you out, but they're ultimately intimidated by it.
Right.
When we're in a room, when we find ourselves in a room, whether it be like CRS, like country radio seminar or something like that, and I run into these people that I know hate what I stand for, they sure won't say anything about it. They try to smile and buddy, hey, buddy, hey.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm very, I tend to be very confrontational when it comes to that, and so I let them know that I know, and I'm fine with that.
So you don't like pretentious? You don't like that?
I'm not gonna pretend. What?
People that pretend, yeah.
Oh no, I won't do that at all.
Yeah.
I invite that actually.
Well, the Bible, that's a good, interesting point, because the Bible says, let love be without dissimulation, which actually means the act of pretending. So when people are pretending, one thing people cannot stand is a man of integrity that stands upon his integrity and what his belief system is and structure. So if you won't vacillate off of that, if you're unmovable and you're stable in that particular conviction, then God can use you in so many capacities, because here it is, you know the difference between right and wrong, you know what your rights and freedoms are, right? Mm-hmm. And you're not dazzled by the dollars. You have dignity.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm not the one lost.
That's right.
That's right.
Be cool though.
Yeah, I'm not the one lost. I think at one time I was, just because just being in the industry and thinking that you have to do, and chase these people around who are.
But somewhere along the line, your eyes got open to that.
Well, yeah, and it took. I think really once I stopped drinking, really, and it's a crazy thing, but once I stopped drinking, then that fog was lifted, right?
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I go back to where he said that he went into a room and he felt the evil.
Oh, I called Missy. I was standing over in the corner. I remember it, and it was an all-white party, and we didn't wear all white.
Oh, you didn't?
We didn't get the memo.
Oh no!
And it was some of the biggest. Some of the biggest record execs in Nashville. We walk into this all-white party and whatever we had on, and I usually don't wear white. So we walk in. I reached over to my manager. I said, "Hey, everybody's wearing white." Like, and he's like, "We're not worried about them." And that's why I appreciate him, because he accepts and loves what I am and what I'm not. And so we're sitting in there, and then as everybody's running around, the thing is everybody was having fun, right?
Right.
I'm sitting there watching all this, feeling like I'm watching evil all around me. Mm-hmm. And so I immediately start texting Missy, and next thing I know, I was over in a corner, just sitting there, because I rode with them. So I had no way to leave. And I said, Chuck, I got to get out of here in a minute. And he's making his rounds, doing his management thing. Yeah. And I get what he has to do, because he has other artists that he has to represent as well. And he's making his rounds. And it was weird, because I told a guy, there was a guy there, I forget his name for the life of me, but he played with like, it was like Nickelback or something like that. And it was one of their guitar players. Yeah. And we were just kind of talking or whatever. And I said, I got to get out of here. He's like, I'll take you. Just whatever you need to do. I get it. I'll take you. I was like, let's go. And so we left.
Isn't it funny that they're all wanting to wear the white, pure white?
Oh, yeah.
But it's pure evil.
It's bad. It's bad. Chuck introduced me to a few people. And it was just kind of like, all right, hey. Like that, and I just, and he's like, I wanted you to talk to that guy. I was like, I don't want to talk to that guy. But he's this, and I'm like, I don't care. I didn't want to talk to that guy. I felt.
No
weird.
deals with the devil.
No, we're not doing that.
Wow, isn't that something?
It was a bad night.
Oh, that's something.
I swore I'd never do it again, and I haven't since then. I said, I know what this is like. I never want it again, ever. So we ain't been back.
I've really enjoyed this interview.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like it's so enlightening to see the things that are in the industry, and the way you have to, you got to stand for truth and who you are, and have some dignity and be decent in this world, But yet, I think it's good to shine for Jesus, and even if it is maybe not a worship song, it's a song about, like you said, addictions, and reaching people that are addicted, people that are shackled. I mean, there's so many people that are shackled. And music is such an art and such an expressive way to reach into the psyches and the depths of someone's soul, and...
Yeah, and you know what? Just to kind of throw this in there, me personally, coming from a drinking background, right? Mm-hmm. And I was one of those functioning drinkers, right? So you wouldn't have looked at me and said, "Oh, this dude drinks every day of his life." But at one point, I did. And so, but what I needed to hear then was not a song about His grace, His grace, His grace, and how I'm just amazing because of His grace. Love that, but if you're not there yet, it seems so far away. So what you want to hear is you want to hear somebody else's struggle. What are they going through? So when we put out Jim, it's like, man, I'm not alone in this. He's struggling. He spent his savings. He turned his home into a house. He was destroying his marriage. That's what he was doing, and that's what I've done. So when somebody can relate on that level while they're in that hole, then that's how they come up out of it. To me. And so when people say that songs like that save their lives, then that's real, because it was real for me like that.
Wow.
So,
That's got to be a good feeling of self-actualization too, to know. Did you write this song?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We went through it. I mean,
yeah, you went through. It's like a testimony.
We went through it. The whole album. It's called "It's About Time," and it's about a period of time. So what it does is it's 4 songs. It starts from the beginning of me and Missy's relationship, where it was all just skipping through fields of daisies and it was all everything, and then it gets into the marriage where her work starts, but then Timmy starts drinking and stuff like that. So then I have a song called Holding On, and it kind of bounces off that old 90s song, Holding On to a Woman, Letting Go. And so it's the same concept. It's talking about that, how I'm trying to hold on but she's letting go. And so then third song on it is like you have Jim, right, which is where it's really bad in the drinking and stuff like that. But then you have the 4th song on there, which is about our reconciliation, what we did to find ourselves again. So that's what the whole album's about.
Does God come into that? Did you mention God?
Yeah, I did. So I said 3. Here's what I did. Peek the mic. So here's what I did. I actually said that we were fussing and fighting, and I say it's me, it's not all her, whatever. But I said 3 strands in this, right? And that ain't never gonna break. So what it is, that's me, her, and God.
That's
so when I say little things like that,
that's scripture.
It's kind of like if you know, or whatever. Yeah. But like, so when I talk about 3 strands, that's what I'm talking about.
Wow,
that's what it took.
Nice.
Yeah,
the 3-fold chords not easily broken. Wow,
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Where can we find these songs at?
So it's just Spotify, Pandora, Apple, whatever your platform is of choice. You'll find it on there. So
awesome.
Yeah, and it's an album.
So that one is an album. So it's an EP. It's just got 4 songs on it. We've released a couple singles outside of that, and then there was actually an album before that, and it was the first project we ever put out. We did record that in Henderson.
Okay.
Terrible. No offense, but it's true. And everybody that was in the room and when we recorded, it was terrible. But everybody was learning. So what happened was there was a studio that was in a warehouse, and those guys have all went on to do bigger things in music. Right. And we all we don't keep in touch really, but when I see them out, it's all love. Yeah. But like, so that first album, it had 4 songs on it too. And we took that off the platform. The quality was that bad.
Oh man,
it was bad. And but what do you expect? We were just
some kids.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about beginnings. Let's talk a little bit about beginnings, because I remember I don't know what the year was.
8 years ago?
It was 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it was, 8 years ago. Yeah. And we were at the truck stop. I used to operate the North-South truck stop in Roberts, and this man sings and plays and just he's got a great quality voice, and he was so shy, man. You couldn't get him to sing. He was scared, wasn't you?
Yeah.
He's scared. And so, bad. Do you remember in the crowd there was a lady, was her name Evelyn? Or
yes.
Was her name Evelyn?
She played keyboard.
She played keyboard, and she was involved here in Henderson with the music, whatever that was. I can't remember what it was. But they did music, she taught music, and was really deep into music. And Timmy got up, and I played the guitar. I don't remember the song.
It was Angels Like Her by Trent Tomlinson.
Angels. Jim Beam hit the... How's it go?
Jim Beam hit the Jim Beam, ricocheted off a bottle of Coke.
He sang this song, and the crowd just went crazy, and you were scared to death. So
Yeah.
but
It was just.
it was a good experience, and then Evelyn erupted. Yeah, she erupted, and she told me, "You got something." And I said, "Yeah, but he's so shy." He's so shy. Look at you now.
It was crazy because I was actually mad that he called me up there. It was the plan, but I just got too scared, so I'm off in that back room with the cups. And he said, "I want to bring out my son-in-law, Timmy. Timmy, come on up here." And I'm like, "No, I'm scared." And so I was like, "No." And then of course everybody was like, "Yeah, where's Timmy at?" You know, so I had to do it, and so I did it.
Yeah, there was a little pause
Yeah.
between announcing him and him coming out. It was
Oh
like,
man,
and grab him and pull him.
had some chants going on, and next thing I know, I'm up
Oh,
there.
it was a good experience, though.
You know what? And here's what's crazy. Every radio interview, podcast interview that I've done in 8 years, right? You can actually read this because sometimes when they've done like articles, and so even in those articles you can read where I give credit to my career, the start of it. Even being able to have the courage to do it, I credit it to him and my brother-in-law.
Right.
Because if it wasn't for them pushing me out and bringing me out of that shell, I never would have done it.
And I think John
Never
played the
would've done it.
bass,
Yes.
and I played the guitar. And
of course,
We
John's
said-
like, "Come on, Timmy, you can't be scared your whole life."
do him again. Yeah, let's do
Come on, Timmy, you can't be scared your whole life. You know, but the thing is I need
That's good.
can't be scared of everything. So, but I needed that. If I didn't have it, and I credit you guys, and I'm thankful for you guys doing it to me, even as scared and as mad as I was, if you hadn't done it, it's crazy because we've been to New York and LA and Canada. We've played on these
Everywhere,
huge stages,
platforms.
and all because that right
That
there.
was
Oh, man.
Yeah.
and thank God Evelyn was there to. Because then you had some irrefutable. You couldn't refute that. That's somebody giving you the best feedback that's in the industry.
Yeah.
And it was fortuitous. It was wonderful. I was glad to be a part of that. But I just won't forget that Jim Beam hit the sunbeam or something. The sunbeam. There was that lyrics that you sang, and I was like, man, it just sounds real good.
It was good. It was. I think about it all the time. Every
Yeah.
time I do something else cool that I've never done before, like we went and played Stampede up in Calgary, Canada.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest showcases in the world.
Yeah.
And really, an unsigned artist just doesn't. They don't play that. It's label represented.
Yeah.
So
Right.
the fact for us to go up there as an independent artist and play that, I think about y'all every time.
And
I
that
think about
neat.
like, my goodness,
That's needed.
That is.
my goodness. So
Yeah, that's so awesome. Maybe one of these days we'll have a studio.
that's
Coming soon. Hope.
that's right. That's right. But yeah, I think about that a lot. I do.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I've always loved music, and I just think it's a testament to, it starts there, and then God can use that. And that's kind of the way Jesus was. He would start with what you know, and it'd take you where you need to be. Wow, our lives are testimonies
Mm.
Yeah.
as to the providence of God, and of His blessings, and that's upon you, and you got a wonderful family. I know that's coming from
A little
me,
biased.
a little biased. Beautiful children, the most loving children, and just a wonderful family, and you're doing such a great job with your family.
Thank you.
And though you admit it starts off rocky, it's pretty solid. God's done good things, and you're pliable to God, and that's what we have to be. We have to be submitted to. Amos asked the question, "Can two walk together lest they be agreed?" Well, the answer is the only way you can do that is one has to submit.
Mm-hmm.
And who do we submit to? That's the greater. It would be God. Be the one that put all things in existence, and so reach them with testimony, reach them with these songs, and that's I think it's salt and light.
True.
Well, we appreciate Timmy coming on with us today. Timmy Dunn, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, co-host Alex Stewart, myself,
Yes.
Johnny Massara. We thank you for tuning in, and we ask you to enjoy and come back again. What's that you like to say, Alex?
Yeah, we like to smack the bell icon, and subscribe and share. And if you want to check out Timmy, we'll try to link some of his social medias in the description. And yeah, make sure you go check him out.
Cool. Thanks.
Godspeed.